Hello. Welcome to Sikasem. When we say Sikasem, we say Juma. Iti ene meneme ofa sikan kamo ha. Senye every Monday, 7 to 9 p.m. Ye sika sem ho Juma no. Eno ena ye start aye ho Juma sisia. Wazi, mechi out.
Yeah. Me just open the
And say 2 weeks ni you and 1 week.
I think that yeah, it was 2 weeks back on the legend here, but yeah, 1 on 1 it was 2 weeks.
It's Obia for joining in. Sikasem. You know, kind of friend saying, Lumba the kind of say, Sikasem, one who near Bemo Yakura, we pennies no Yakura. And it was so baby now. Penny Akurati, I couldn't not penny from no. Sometimes yeah, is Kasemia. You know, be Kakramaya.
Aye, and it will be
say, my mother time Kakran Sana. Yeah, you name them. And then your topic no, topic be a Damakumasi. Topic be a Damakumasi pa. Say no risk, no wealth. Why playing safe keeps you broke and keep us broke. True pa. And I justice to this question. And I said this topic, a question, very justice to it. Because you be on my life I boy. It means I can't see a plane is safe no. I say a be part of our DNA. Now what is happening so a be part of you are ma nyaman timi kokoso yi. Yo, Kwasi.
Yeah, for Ravi. Yeah.
Fafria na bibi kakra wo maye no.
Sharp.
Joe mechiao Jonati Alande wa ha mechiao. Joe.
Okay. Yeah, and your chair phones of a birthday that's near Quiniano. And history, no. I'm saying live show you can't be kakrana, your legend, you know. I'm saying nya kwenya san kabimti and me call a honika crabby. So and today in African history ne pese bibika crabby about the trans-Saharan slave trade. And I say biso freno the Arab slave trade in Africa. By a pese state emphatically say talking about this history is for learning purposes, is by no means attacking anybody's religion. And so and the trans-Saharan slave trade, you know, in PNP, you know, nipa Britain transatlantic slave trade and only the European slave trade now call so it be by America ha and then nipa Britain in you know about but slave trade we are near friend trans-Saharan slave trade or the Arab slave trade and no it lasted for about 1200 years. So it started from 650 AD to about 1920. There's a transatlantic slave trade no koso krano na enonse yeden koso. And no, what happened was that they took people from the eastern part of Africa, the central part of Africa, of course, northern part of Africa, and some part of western Africa. And the funny free baby na ye de maba boa anu trading hubs. Remember, transatlantic slave trade, you said New York, the Wall Street was one of the hubs. Over trans-Saharan slave trade and also the Arab slave trade, the Arabian countries, no, the Gulf countries, Persia, Baghdad, Iraq, all those countries, even Turkey is part. Omuna elidis slave trade asemi. So they will group them in a place called Zanzibar, which is in Tanzania. Ibimunsu yedi omoko Egypt. Yedi omoko baby. And near money, from their money, and they say for this particular slave trade, you know, it was targeted towards females and young children. And the reason is because whilst the transatlantic slave trade focused on getting energetic men who will be able to work on the plantation, the trans-Saharan slave trade or the Arab slave trade focused on women and young children because they use the women as their concubines for sexual pleasure. Now, and to offer any part four during that time now, emu tre ma and emu bakupe bema. Now, what makes it very, very detrimental in the lives of African is that it lasted for over 1,200 years, and it took people around 10 to 18 million. And it almost far sa eya we mu. Omo je Islam som ni tumu no yan show many eya gidigidi sa ba one jan tumu no, the kind of atrocities that you will pass through was nothing home to write about. Transatlantic slave trade did a similar thing for people who were forced to become Christians. And one day, the letter that Pope Nicholas V gave to King Alfonso I of Portugal in 1452. We know so. What they did was that they castrated them. So they will castrate them. And remember, at that time, even anesthesia, so the survival rate for the castration of the men was 10%. The next year, your castration now, 90% surety say one year obey the ubeu. And the idea was for them to depopulate the people. And also, when the people are gathered, they will not be able to mate with a man or more until they saw with their eyes that these Arabs raped their daughters, raped their wives, raped their nieces, and did so many atrocities to them, and they gave them a false identity. And that is why a lot of people will fight for their religion, whether it is Islam, whether it is Christianity. He will fight against somebody who is not called Ibrahim or Muhammad or Isa. But then near ono the asana on penas, even though that person is African, no only the abia togbi no on penas, no only the abia can come on penas, but they will fight for somebody who bears the name maybe James, who bears the name maybe Michael, and all those kind of things. So it painted something in the mind of Africans. And to conclude it all, what this has done to Africans is that now we suffer from something we call psychonegrosis. Psychonegrosis is when the African does not really believe in whatever thing that he has, but then they are always seeking for validation from whether it is the European or the Arab, because these two groups of people, even though they came to Africa to study, we were very welcoming, but they use our hospitality as our weakness to fight against us. Into Ohana say, oh, sumbi whether Islam and Christian sumna. Kushia, even the names that some Muslims have, but a lot of people don't know. They take the names because they love it. It's the same thing for Christians during the transatlantic slave trade. And the history, Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Say kind of for study purposes. We are not attacking anybody. Send you sit baby a dano on your day. Yeah, attack you be yeah, and a topic not saying kind of no risk, no wealth. Why play safe keeps us broke? And yeah, you see, many people dream of financial freedom,
right?
But to me live that whole life. No, we are all, most of us are stuck in this surviving type of or surviving mood, all because of this one of the biggest reason being, either say we are scared, fear, or risk. We don't want to take risk. You think it should be risky. It's not financial freedom I pesi nyano because yin nyina den ke pe no em yetimi nyano ene na epesi ehwe na ye ka ho asem because say na meka ni mu bebre ho no ma this situation aye bibia ama yentimi endi ye ho yi eba finance ho a na nye finance ko a but I said because of this program, the purposes of finance intini be focus more on finance, but throughout your life bibia ye bia. But before say best start, like, share, and subscribe. Now I mean can be a classroom for paradigm. Wednesday is your program be a friend paradigm. Also in your live show, subscribe to Patrick Bear YouTube channel. Bet me abo amonya. Your name kofu be break kasa or more omunya different mind. Obi kind or say you won't be broad more and near my extra be do say no and ya dear boy. wo mu si ehwehwe system e be di ye different ideas so afina said do say then e betimi aye kra me etimi adi abos na ya ka wo ho ebi na ye be ka ho asem risk ni na ka ho paradigm shift ene ko focus o mo de o matimi atiki na mo tu anamo a e koso mo yes bi o maduru anaso mo ba o nam kwan so bibiri so aduru nti utia eboa ma so timi start sell so timi ye bibi nti share, like and subscribe now. Also subscribe to the Patrick Bear YouTube channel between aboa mo nya paradigm shift. No risk, no wealth. Why playing safe keep us broke? Because you can be kakramfa. No risk, no wealth. Krahwan Sanya started playing safe no.
Yep. No risk, no wealth. Afabafi na topic ni topic bia ehiyama yen bi before pa. Once we are seeing kasano, life itself is a risk. Because you were somewhere and your mom and dad met. Unkwawe in a fertilizer mami egg, you know, and I buy it's a risk. It's a risk that the egg took and then you came to the world. You are at war. And this war that we are talking about, you know, the number one thing that everybody is fighting for is financial freedom. And you can only get a financial freedom through wealth. And for you to get that wealth, you know, say you take a risk. Say oyewa adwin say obe deny on hu niam bi. So oyewa adwin say me nyama adwin say me de me mpɛ me ho asɛ me de nyamenya na ye I'm trying to be average, I'm trying to be this salary near the mama na ye okay. If it is really wealth that you want to create, akukudro ana ye de chechere obia na koko ne koko edru ana etimi echichere ejapade kese na so ni ho mpa I want to be bribe miensa na ena enum no. They're able to enjoy from this wealth that we are talking about. A lot of people think so they are so wise or they are so knowledgeable. But ukumupa a risk. Unya kukudrubi say, okay, ubia nya media mede meye. So if you really want wealth, you should be willing to take risk. You should even be willing to lose some money. If you are not willing to take that risk, even to the extent of risking your life at some point, because you didn't you will not be able to like get back again. So you are not ready to take risks. Wealth is not your friend.
Why playing safe keep us broke? You see, your points can my number share. And one, you say, we, you were raised to avoid mistakes, not manage risk from school to home. We are told to, play it safe. So many fear trying anything new, especially with money. Like I said, when it comes to risk taking throughout your life, I said, even form way, and in a risk. We are risk now by your friend say spend no a tour over 500 million spend then I will now buy risk other kiki now pay it no but I had you right from school just say straight up school if you it's clear don't mess it up. Do not mess it up. It's my ye crano, ye address a better cranium be bree. By who say, we shame nipa be bree, how much me ye, or my successful so many things are a risk and a di my koi. It's ya clinch to so playing the safe sama. I say, ye episode of security be it's the piano, a by jumamu, a bad demu, that's a sign ye. Hey, a background, a one crana sometimes. As much as the BR I talk about, say, yen try say beer debt near the cranium, but how your business is near the beer. Sometimes you have to take those things, wisely. But you playing safe. It almost all the time, no. The beer near share corner. Yen maybe a tian because you adika just say, don't mess it up. It you so corner, oko messy be up. But yes, life tier, especially when it comes to finance. You have to take that risk. You see, not long ago, I check a crowd by Biasa, 2023, Bank of America, Chase Bank, all these big banks, financial institutions, beginning of the year now, say that year, no, there's going to be recession. Data was there. It shows there was going to be the recession. What did people do? I'm all for statistics. I'm going to cut sidelines. Guess what happened that year? The stock market, S&P 500, went up 24%.
Yep.
24%, whopping 24%. It's at 100,000 and Kawana Uja Uma, Kabinya 124. You see? So risk, you know, untimi enfa enyi free home ani nye. By the day the biano enya de wo see take risk. The bia yeti an yeti. Just one free comfort zone a entimi nye. And also just no ntino ubejeja ho sa. Calculated risk. You see, nipa bebree taking risk. I said they avoid it instead of managing risk. You have to, you can, if you avoid it completely, that is where you can be of yourself, because the moment you start taking risk, that means you are living a different life. But maybe also wow see, because your life, throughout your life now, you take risk na be a course. So your friends say, I'm not going to take that risk. Remember, you start from collaborating, you take a risk. You start to see an auntie. Hey, don't do it, you might fall. What can I say? You might. You've been falling. That was sorry. And so you might fall. Hey, don't do this. You know, cry. And so cry not if you know. Until we shall we as a throughout our life, risk no, but you do baby pay. That's how risking now because of a near my idea my free school, free fee any sign money now the whole thing that change. I feel near. But remember, they always see when he says one take a risk. There are two things in the world you can't stand the same. Either you die or you live. It is say we say me jaho and me jaho dia obwa. Kakra. Just unye hu sa. Kakra na fi no improvement me my life.
Yep. Most Ghanaians want guarantee before trying. People often ask, what has it done before, or will it work? But real wealth is built by pioneers, not followers. And Pempe, you know, Bubi to me for us, oh, me 100,000 Ghana cedis, $100,000, me unia, me fine. And I then I made this kind of be more and she. No, if you, the moment you have that perception, it means that I did now on the senior we want to play it safe. Anybody who is trying to play it safe means they want a guarantee or surety. But life is in constant flux. Near my ass is certain, so there are so many uncertainties. And until I come no crown, wait me at 12 free, you know, garage hono. And I say auto shop on the PSC so you can get a blown engine.
Now who be that? When you blow engine, right? A hand to say use car.
Yeah, you can get a blown engine.
Mercedes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Perfect engineering. Or talk on the engine blue. It's unheard of, but it can happen. Obviously, take a risk or better car or auction. But we're training for better 20 years and yeah, so as a team be assurance. So even stock market and ETFs ni say yeah 3 be pretty cheap. Meaning say a kasa fisha say ye be pretty say don't panic. Keep on buying if you want to buy. And that's all your own talk rampon and you man in them. And we see what is going on. I'm a living testimony of that. It's not like you have so much in it, but being consistent in the little that you have and then taking that risk, trusting the process by any pimping Ghana for your work going to any year with you know. Ye penia as Ubia that yes, ye per se tribe. But world builders are ones who always are looking at the fact that obi nye we bi da nti ma me nso menye dey men try bi and ra me ne madam for be interview ni page ni Coco Chem ono no chere chemistry in tree. He is the first of its kind.
Wow.
Like YouTube or YouTube, and of for the first time in my life, numeration measurement system to say be a whole convert be a code 2 decimal place significant figures inside. You see the past exams, but a ban in Simuna, I was able to understand it from him.
Mm.
He took a risk. He took a risk to do it. But Obisano said, who has done this before? Ana obi anya ebi da no man abemubu ya enko onye de onye nti eden ne kwa kosi. If we really want to create wealth, especially in Ghana for IOF near Quantum or Africans in general, we should not only seek for guarantee. And until na nipa bebre ho adwuma ho wire for 10 years. Inko take risk e prepare ni resume mpo and apply to a step ahead and ko binya. But what's now ama or complain say akrakicho bi buy wa ba be san ho ko. Meanwhile, who ni madwuma ne kyen. But you are so much like, oh yeah, okay with the fact that, okay, maybe I'm in payment once more, maybe so far as I'm able to pay my rent and this, that. Okay. We are not ready to move that extra step. So real wealth is built by pioneers. Pioneers here, maiden edition. Pioneers here, almost say BBS and Sankana for Ababe. It's a risk. And yen papa despite ABA in the museum nano for auto show Ghana and I think even West Africa ni bibia he took a risk ABA and Kebefa ABA emfa he say we biano and I'm pretty sure that people will go there even if they have to pay 50 cedis per hour or maybe the whole day. I'm sure that they will go and pay it. But if he had played it safe, say, oh, will be a bit will it work? Is it going to work out? And on take his risk. Why are they I'm confident that Abeye Japade so ni wompa nema ebetimi aba abeye den etimi aba befa enso ayede edidi ho enkakrakra. So we should be risk takers. We should not always as in follow on pe cool way. Even stock near here, okay, ube chidemu de bia, o chiri mutual fund iti, o chidemu pan. So still, I say, na me then we discussion more enshi. But we forget that before the upliftment, before a rise, there is a fall. You need that momentum, and for you to get that momentum, you have to be at the fall level, no. And sign away to at the momentum to jump, and let's get surety. Meaning, some people be throw about those things. Hey, then I may yes, you can me business. Then I may now why you be that. Other planning sabons at the end of the day, they wouldn't even take that risk and
you see that what it is people don't wealth is not built on certainty, right? It's built with vision and action.
Yes.
Courage. Remember, courage. That side is where the risk is. You know, we have to that follow no. These are pioneers. Said you can be follow. It is one take risk. A better what you follow. You have to take that risk because it's a risk now. All the time be follow. Now safety. And on the side, the third one is the fear of what people will say kills good ideas, whether abroad or back home. Many sit on business ideas or opportunities because of social pressure and judgment. Look, say we share the whole thing, right? Was West Brown Kabibi, and pass. If you go to the best place, ideas, vision. Need those things na a cemetery.
Yeah.
And they na my cemetery. They be ideas be brave. So also that's where ideas are. Amount 4% come put in place are buried. So many things. Hank was amount 4 year. All because of amount 4 playing is safe. Those people playing is safe. And your best will be those ideas. No one lose dance or the call. Now what or the akokra. You see. And then she said, "Oh shit, dear, you see through you be back." You see, not long ago, na me program na in your bibas na ye din kono no ka bibi. O tim se ne ho kire no pa ne finances into 2 years. E dan o tim ntimi ntwea. But the amount for beka was free then or kind of straight. Was a bro na me free then my dear na me ni best beka. E dear na on beka. You see, Enisa would drink Sanya man. Cra, Enisa would drink Sanya man. But won't drink home. Midnight, but the same thing, you take a risk. A dear I'm off for be if a failure. The gossip by community as I gossip no woman. You may judge me. What did you mention the judgment need to know? And you may conquer your crown or the one. Me want to know, Pama dear, come up. Last time I'm a sister about Lomuti in a friend in any Casaba. Also, started shit or soap, so yes, shit. Now, also, the husband crab beginning no funny change it. No funny change it. Or no across if you know, just I don't crash a finish to run. Now, if you see a finish to run, but if I didn't so a becoso. You see, to keep that boosted now, the shit is everywhere. Would my dear pampa because you paid in Tino, a dear Amaphobica, Amaphobic gossip about me because my cuscu na could be paid in Tino, mean to me Pamadiano, me Pamadiana me ferry, ye be judge me. No, and Nissa, yes, sir. And Nissa would drink sacra. Said the American, say, my own ye authentic. And my own, you are not of yourself. So many different. And I say, my own you're consistent, you know. So, see. Who choose to save power? As we pay price far greater than occasional discomfort, and to be able to be wealthy and also to be able to be successful, you have to be discomfort somewhere or failure because and I would take it, I lesson now they move on. Now to be able to do that, also your authenticity, beba, honor innovation, beba, honor personal growth, beba, because as we call. Now we fail, now we see no. And it is you because all these people that you see that are successful, no, they've gone through that path. And you move to yes, sir. Just say we fan say failure, no more fan say it's a learning process. No fan say failure, a learning process. Ni mu be also I don't cry was start here all yen in pokra. Now was pay approval from Obiho. You share a system was hey, it's Ghana because me testament of that. Ye be crowd and a coso. And so you find say no, see our mamma approve and free abrutia. Ye business no cost ye juba no cost ye see keba. And so yes no, yes how about pay capital at the end never said their cohort. We are seeking validation approval from the West and Sunny if you said you say any you see. Ni nice are playing is safe nibino. But to be able to do stuff, you have to be very uncomfortable. You have to go outside your comfort zone. No more fear of what people will say. Yeah. Because we are there, Becca. Hey, Unyesika Ebeka, Unyesika Ebeka, Udidi Ebeka, Unidi Ebeka, Bibi Ebeka. You see, I forgot who said this. One of my mentors, the Lord was say, the first time that financially power freedom when you're freedom, the first time who say people are not, he doesn't think about what people say about him. Money is free, yes, because when you have financial freedom, because when you have data, until then, you're still living the way people want you to live. You're living for people, you're seeking validation until the time. I don't know. My life financially started improve when buyer. I don't care what you think about me. No problem. Yeah. Because I can't control that. The opposite of dream for me. Mean to me. The only thing I can control is me. So you can only control you. So don't be scared of what people will say about you. You see? Because it's going to kill that bold ideas that you have. The bold ideas the friends saying, I wasn't called banana bless it. We are saying. The Bible found a cemetery, Satan had a call. It said it was Libyan kind. Was when you bring good ideas. Ideas and Kabibia by now, no, it be cranky at space.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I think number four, Tuani Awokana. So say, what if it fails?
Yes.
You know, the difference between the rich and the poor, or the rich and even the wealthy, if you want to take in these three categories, poor, rich, wealthy, ni nyinaa yɛ mindset. And yeah, no, yeah, training in such a way say, yeah, pese tembian near ashisha eye juma near the bay day, the bay juma. And until now, people don't want to even take risks and be entrepreneurial. You know, because we work about degree, master's, PhD, you per se at office. But we realize that the few ones who took a risk, oh, my man, you some na be ye achen omo follow the same pattern, you know, the pattern that gives you assurance, the pattern that is seeming to be certain, you know, and no na ye focus. Now, yes, what if it fails? But the question is also, what if it works?
Yeah.
You can only know by taking that risk. You can only know by taking that risk. Shit on our person, me ya ABIN to on besre me, ABN enye de. Now you na say then so oh you na say then so that is what you need, and you don't have anything to lose, but you can only know by what, making that boast and to risk here getting the courage to take the first step. That is risk. Getting the courage to make that first step. And then the most successful people failed first, but they learned and tried again. What they hear call actually cry. Yeah, you American Museum Elon Musk. Now, space, Timbia, rocket yomudiko, what they call intimine. I just was here for now. We need to make it reusable. Or try na intimi melandi na blast it. Na for the picky here. Or launch here, it was able to return and landed perfectly. But look at how many times he failed. Let's look at Thomas Edison. How many times he failed. But through the failure, they kept learning. And this whole part, the first of its kind is to take a risk. The risk might make you make a mistake because mistake, you realize that you will learn. And the more you learn, the lesser you minimize your risk. And I'm sure to say Papa despite. One is a man $10 million. Right now, he knows what to use the money for and how he will minimize the failure. But Yenke who said, proud to he getting to this stage, why mistakes be brave, like numerous, uncountable mistakes, but they learn. If you study critically, people who are innovative, they are risk takers.
Yes.
People who are very innovative, they are risk takers. And viewers, listeners, know this. It is more risky not to take risk. So if you don't take risk, it's more risky not to take risk. I don't know how to explain. Is it your
your friend say if you think education is expensive, wait for ignorance.
Exactly. Wait for ignorance.
So if you don't do it at all, it's so risky because, like I said the Okana, what the back chef for?
Yep.
What the back chef for? Me trust in free one.
Ampacha is more risky not to take risk, Yeah.
Yes. See, Fred, I can't see be Fred, no, Freddy. He said now about Edison and Semia. Or see, because of the weather,
yeah,
Africa, no, there was yes, so many samples, and also so many research, trials, near the to say, Obenya sa win. Last interview I'm here, also trying so many times. I think it was say 100 times to say, and sana utimenya, that means Edison kind of yes, fail. There were so many ways, that 1,000 ways, and son withdrew. No, you see, not taking risks there. So I quite remember, so not long ago, now few people, especially with DMV area, hey, You know, I think so you might even know cry. Hey, we have federal job. It's like what the quite new, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say we to say federal job. You see, people were playing the safe. At the same time, it's good. It was good. Nation knew good, and I say it was good. But if you even film crying federal jobs, people were able to go out there and make 150, 180, 200. But federal job was giving them maybe 100. You know, if you do that for 10 years, I look at the difference. I understand, say, the a friend is saying the incentives, but look at that difference. No, people who take his risk, you know, they were making that difference. No, it's yeah. 200, but federal job no make it 100. It's 10 years over 1 million. Say, will be at when you are brave. Now, person will put that into use. I don't think that benefits no binyano. Make me away that 1 million for 10 years. No. You see, because before now I'm for you on a federal being now what I know is usually I'm for the 55 near there I won't be call retire and come up benefits no. So taking risks no a risky crash and say what so we don't have to rely say to say as you have to do something. Why? He said in can a failure. Now the judgment, the D&D and it's all found be brave because who the dia ultimate and yashi. You see, they be a mecha by especially my memoir and I knew a man. You know, we cherish you guys so much. Say we know what you guys are capable of doing when it comes to Niama and Miane at the palmness animal. I did a main Tiasi crans the Bia Umudu Kumhaya na sa risk na just won't be so take a risk. You want to play safe, you know. Or tono boso kwakwe we and unti ubi at na Walmart why you for Walmart there 10 years 15 years making the same amount for so long until me cry moving konani me wow to no boy bi anena so for man from assume na papai or pamatade the show to say yes what pamatade. You have to take that risk. You have to take that risk. Don't play safe anymore. It's about time. I was saying anyone can say don't. And he said, "What's not what crass or yes, I didn't be."